I would like to welcome you to the upper echelon. I want you to be honest and don't you lie. Don't you think of lying. Be for real. You're not a Bud Crawford fan. You just hate Spence, right?
Want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I just want to know, what do you think was your toughest fight?
I'm gonna say I had two tough fights. My first big fight, exposure fight, was against Marcus Sosa on ESPN January 23rd, 1991. It was tough. He was undefeated, I was undefeated. But you know what? I had to show him that I was the real deal. Because like I said, once again, I was born in as an opponent. They thought I was gonna lay over, but it was a different thing. I dropped him 3 times. I won to a decision. And my second tough fight was against the man himself. I don't know if you hear yet, the body snatcher, Mike McCallum. He was tough. I mean, real tough. Mastermind, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I went to work on it. I had to show him I was the best. It was supposed to be for the unification fight, but WWE pulled out the last minute. But still, I still want Mike on my name, on my resume. I got it.
Tell me, you fought in a lot of different weight classes.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to adapt as you moved up in weight to the punching power?
No. You know what? The more that wouldn't hit me flush. Nobody changed me flush. The only time I hit flush one time was in the back of the head. That was against Sam Peter, the heavyweight. I don't get hit flush. I know that. You watch all my fights. I have never got hit flush. Except that one time in the back of the head by Sam Peter.
First off, Mr. James Toney, with all due respect, I'm about to disrespect you respectfully because you started off capping. First off, you said you only had 2 tough fights, which was Sosa and Mike McCallum. Said you whooped them both. I seem to remember you having a fight with that bad man named Roy Jones Jr. when y'all both was undefeated. Let's talk about that undefeated fight. When you tried to mimic him and you got caught in the first round, then he beat you up real bad. Then let's talk about this other tough fight you had. The one that was your biggest win in your career. It was against David Tiberi. Everyone thought you lost the fight. It was so controversial that United States Senator William Roth of Delaware called for an investigation on possible corruption in sports. Come on now. I guess you forgot about those, but I'm gonna remind you of it. Because Roy Jones must have knocked something out of your brain when he hit you with that leaping left hook that you tried to mimic and you tried to be bad, but you was also great at the middleweight. But with your undisciplined style, you had to go to different weight classes because you couldn't control your weight because you liked to eat, buddy.
But y'all finally decided he was a prick. You know what I'm saying? Take on Terrence Crawford, the beast.
Yeah. There may be a fight with Errol Spence, and I think you fans will understand this comment. I think Crawford's the best fighter in the world. I think Spence might be the best welterweight because he's naturally a bigger man, which makes for a great fight. When they fight, who do you like?
Size don't mean nothing. I'm a living proof of that. I'm for everybody I'm sure to everybody fight. Nah, beat that ass.
So,
Ask Sam Peter.
So if they fight, who would you like? Spence, Crawford?
Everybody know who won that fight. It's like Errol Spence.
Okay.
Errol Spence, he'll be looking at getting out of that 6 rounds.
Questions for James Toney?
Don't get me wrong, Errol Spence is a tremendous fighter, but he's just not on Crawford's level yet.
Yeah.
Come on, Smitty, you know better than this.
You talking about Sam Peter and size don't mean nothing and you beat everybody ass. Now I know you got brain damage because if I do remember, you lost to Sam Peter, not once, but twice. You also lost to Dennis Ledbew, Lucas Brown, Jason Gavin, Charles Ellis. You got a draw against Hasim Rahman. You lost against Drake Tadazi. Montel Griffin beat you, and then he beat you again. So you talking about you beat everybody, and you talking about ask Sam Peters. Sam Peters beat you not once, but twice. So what are we asking him about? How easy it was to bait you? Is that what we asking about? And then when you beat John Ruiz for the WBA, but you failed the post-fight testing, positive for anabolic steroid stanzanol. The fight was declared a no contest. They took the win from you and banned you from boxing for 90 days and gave John Ruiz his belt back. So what are we talking about here? Then you cap it on Spence, talking about he's not that great and he's not on Crawford level. But when you look at it, Spence did more than you have and his record look better. Is that why you hate him? Spence done made more in his career than you have made in your entire career already. Spence is looking more spectacular and more fantastic than you. He's beating better fighters than you giving him credit for. Crawford is a beast, yes. I'm not taking nothing away from Crawford. But if you sit there talking about Crawford's resume, you got to look at Spence's resume because he has 4 future Hall of Famers on his resume. And the 2 names that Crawford does have on his resume have been watched by Spence before Crawford fought him. So where are you coming from? It's obviously that you have brain damage. You took too many shots to the head, so you're not understanding what's really going on here. About you haven't been hit flush. Something has happened, Mr. Toney, because you can't even get your speech patterns correct. That comes from extensive brain damage, blunt force trauma. You've been hit more than you thought you have. And them fights was not as close as you thought they was. And in your mind, you must have won the fights that you really lost. Because you're hollering Sam Peter like he knew. And all I know is Sam Peter whooped that tail twice. And you was a juicer. And you're hating on a man that's out here trying to make a way for his family and his future, who's nothing but a shining example. If you're going to say anything about it, say Spence and Crawford both have great resumes, but Spence is just a tad better if you want to be honest about it. And Spence is the bigger draw if we want to be honest about it. And Spence has more accredited fighters if we want to be honest about it. But you're like the old other people that's old that seen Spence come out with Floyd Mayweather's blessing. And so y'all didn't get to see Floyd take a loss, so you're hoping that Spence will take a loss. I bet as soon as Spence beats Crawford, you're going to be a Boots fan next. That's what y'all do. All these people are not really Crawford fans. They're Spence detractors. Y'all just want to see Spence go down. Y'all want to see Spence lose. And the bad thing about it, he's sticking 2 middle fingers up and laughing at y'all each time he wins. But if you feel so sure, bet against him. Bet your puny ass check against him because I know he making more cheddar than you. And you sitting up there, you a has-been, you're washed up, and you can't even remember the fights that you lost. But it's okay, Jones, because you was good at your time. Borderline great, but you lost a lot of tough fights there, buddy. You lost a lot of fights you should have won. And I bet when it's all said and done, Spence's record and his achievements will achieve and surpass everything that you've done in the ring. Matter of fact, the man has a holiday name behind him. What do you got? All you got is a podcast that's not even yours where you sitting up there spouting out a whole bunch of nothing. This is your 15 minutes of fame. Now go on back in the recesses because we didn't know where you was at before this came out.